Welcome back everybody to Gemology for Schmucks. My name is Peter Nelson, and today I'd like to tell you about this. This right here is my gem tool kit, and I take this around with me when I'm buying gems. So these are the essential tools that I need when I'm evaluating stones in the field. And as you can tell, this is quite compact, but it contains all of the things I need to do to make sure that I don't make any colossal mistakes when buying. So what I'd like to do is show you what's inside, tell you what you do need and what you don't need. I've got some things that are a little bit overkill for a normal everyday pack, but I like to be prepared. So come on over here, let me show you what I've got. So first things first, we unzip the pouch here, and right in the main compartment we've got a pair of tweezers. Now my tweezers, you can see right here, have an M1 on them. What that means is that they are medium-sized spacing. Some of them are meant for larger stones. These work well for any type of stone. For the larger stones, do go for the larger size. The angle of the tweezers just makes things a little bit easier for you. And the one, you can see that there's a groove right here in the middle. This is very helpful. That helps latch onto the girdle on the outside of the stone. So I definitely suggest getting tweezers that have a groove. Regardless of what size tweezers you're dealing with, having one that has a groove is very helpful in my opinion. So these are my tweezers. The next piece of equipment that I definitely recommend everybody get is this thing right here, a dichroiscope. But this is very helpful in distinguishing between singly refractive and doubly refractive stones, if they have strong pleochroism. If you're unfamiliar with these terms, please check out my video on the dichroiscope and it'll make a lot more sense. This is definitely an important piece of kit, and it's very light. Perhaps the most important thing, a 10 times triplet loop. Do not go anywhere without one of these. My favorite little tool here, this is the spectroscope, and this is about as close as you get to sorcery without actually doing sorcery. What this does is it splits light into its full spectrum. If I use this with a strong full spectrum light, it allows me to see if the stone is selectively absorbing certain colors. So things like jadeite jade, for example, have a very specific pattern. So I can distinguish between jadeite jade and other stones that are being imposters, trying to pass themselves off as jadeite jade. And the next thing that you're absolutely going to need is some kind of cloth. This is actually a piece of suede. This is very good for getting the oils of your fingers off of that stone so that you can inspect them clearly. Very important to have some kind of cloth, whether it's this or the ones for polishing your glasses are also really good, or a microfiber cloth, they're all excellent. This right here is not an essential piece of kit, but if you're dealing with emeralds, this can be very helpful. A Chelsea filter or a emerald color filter. What this does is it filters out certain wavelengths of light, and so it allows you to see if the stone either has chromium content or cobalt content. And so that's very useful for checking certain types of stones. For example, some people might be trying to sell cobalt spinel, but they might sneak in a couple of pieces of aquamarine, for example, and the price point on those two things is very different, and this will very quickly show you the difference between those two stones because of their properties. The coloring agent in aquamarine, for example, is iron, and that kills the fluorescence, so it won't show up as pinkish under this Chelsea filter, but cobalt spinel would. And different origins of emerald actually will have a different intensity of color under the Chelsea filter. Colombian emeralds or Panjshir emeralds from Afghanistan actually will have very strong color under this, but emeralds from Brazil or Zambia actually have a much duller color than those other origins. So this can be a very useful piece, but not necessary for everybody. For those of you who are putting together a gem toolkit, I hope that this has been useful for you and that you understand what you do need to buy and what you don't need to buy. And really it comes down to what stones you're dealing with. On a fundamental level, all you really need is a loop. If you don't have a loop, then what are you pretending about? You need one, and if you don't know how to use a loop, check out my video right here. On top of a loop, it's good to have a pair of tweezers that you are familiar with. When you go around to different gem brokers, they typically have tweezers themselves, but they have a different spring, and so depending on which tweezers you're used to or not used to, if you get one that has a different tension or a different spring, then the likelihood of a stone just pew, flying off somewhere is high and very unpleasant. I mean, I want to tell you, you want to talk about cold sweats, I mean, that's the fast way to get them. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. If you enjoyed this, please hit that like button, that subscribe button, and tell all your friends about it, and I will see you in the next show. Bye-bye.